Why weren't you good enough for him to change? Maybe you've asked this question, maybe you've thought this several times, thinking through, why didn't he change for me? What was wrong with me? Why wasn't I good enough? Have you ever had this question? Have you ever had this thought go through your mind with the toxic person, without the toxic person? Maybe he's moved on to the next person. Maybe you see him pretending to change for the next supply, for the next person in his life. And this question starts to haunt you. This question starts to come into your mind over and over and over. And you find yourself beating yourself up, putting yourself down, starting to degrade yourself, thinking, if I would have done something different, if I would have acted better, if I would have treated him nicer, if I would have shown up more, if I would have texted him better, if I would have done all these things. And it starts to be this spiral. And this huge spiral of, if I would have done something, then stuff would have turned out differently. If I could have changed who I was, then stuff would have turned out differently. And you run into this spiral over and over. And I want you to take a pause. Take a pause, because I want you to think for a moment, what did you change about yourself in this relationship? You see, if you've been in a toxic relationship, you've probably noticed, if you look back on the past 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, whatever it might be, you probably noticed that you have shifted. Your personality has shifted in whether you're outgoing or introverted. You've shifted in maybe what you wear around this person. You've shifted in how you act. You've shifted in what you do. You've shifted in who you hang out with. You've shifted in being able to go out at all. You've shifted so many different things. Consider it for a moment. What have you changed already to be inside this relationship? What have you given up of your hopes, of your dreams, of the direction that you were originally going to go, of the people, the friends, the family that you had in your life that now you don't have anymore? What have you given up? Because oftentimes you're going to think about this like, oh, I could have changed something more to be better for him. When in reality, it has nothing to do with that. You might be sitting at the question of like, why am I not good enough for him to change? And again, the reality is it doesn't have anything to do with that. When we're dealing with narcissism and narcissistic abuse, it has everything to do with the narcissist. That's it. There's not another piece that actually comes into it that makes valid sense and points to the narcissist's brain. It's like, it's all about him and that's it. And so you think, oh, if I would have elevated my worth, if I would have been better value, if I would have been good enough, right? If I would have grown in this way, if I would have looked this way, if I would have done these things, then he would have changed for me. He wouldn't. He wouldn't. But the hard part is you're going to be sold this lie. You're going to be sold this false reality, thinking that it has something to do with your value is dependent on what he actually does. It's not true. But oftentimes you will think this and you will ruminate on it, and it will be something that spirals you out, that leaves you in a pit of despair and frustration, always beating yourself up because you didn't do the thing you needed to do to keep him. I want you to understand the amount of stuff that you change in a relationship with a narcissist, the amount that you mold yourself to be what he wants you to be, only either elongates or shortens the time that you're going to be with a narcissist. But it doesn't actually stop the end result of him moving on, of him letting you go, of him discarding you and being like, hey, I'm going to go with someone else. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't have anything to do with you. This is the harsh reality that you have to understand. You have to wake up for a moment and understand it has nothing to do with you. The narcissist walking away from you typically has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what he wants in the moment. What is going to get him the validation that he's looking for? What's going to boost his ego in that moment? But it has nothing to do with you. So many people are looking to try to change a certain aspect of themselves, thinking if they change something, then he'll work on himself. Then he'll be better. Then the problem will be fixed. The problem is the narcissist is making a choice every single day. He's making a choice of how he wants to show up. And the choice, unfortunately for you, is he's not willing to show up honest. He's not willing to show up transparent. He's not willing to show up vulnerable about what is actually going on inside his head, inside his heart. So as a result, it's going to continue to happen over and over and over again because he's unwilling to be truthful about the situation. He's unwilling to look at the facts of how he's showing up. He's unwilling to self-reflect and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. So as a result, he's going to continue to lie, to cheat, to steal, to hide, to sedate, all different things to run away from the problem, to run away from himself. And so you're going to be looking at, I can change something, I can modify something, maybe it'll be better. It won't. Because the reality is he's only going to change for himself. He's not going to change for anyone else. Now, you might go into another relationship and you might see him morph and change because he's like, if I do this, then I get the person. If I do this, this person will stay longer. If I give this person what the last person wanted, maybe that'll be the secret ingredient that will keep this person longer. But the problem is he walks into a relationship and he's still the abusive asshole that he was with you. It might be shrouded in a different light. It might be look different with a different mask. But he's still the same person because he's unwilling to be honest. He's unwilling to be truthful with the shit that's inside. And so you need to understand as you're dealing with this and you're struggling with this, and you're like, hey, I wish I was good enough so he would have changed. Understand it has nothing to do with you. And any person that changes for another person, if he changes for you, if you change for him, it won't last. Because what it does is this slight modification. It's this temporary shift to be able to get the end result. What you're looking for is you're actually wanting a narcissist to transform, to completely rewire who he is from the inside out. He's not doing that because he's not willing to self-reflect. He's not willing to be honest. He's not willing to deal with what's inside. He continues to just move on to the next person. And that shows you that he doesn't care about himself, and he definitely doesn't care about you. And so we need to take a look and kind of take a step back and be like, wait a second. Him changing has nothing to do with your worth or with your value. If he's not willing to grow and transform himself, that speaks only to his own view of his value. Has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with your growth. Has nothing to do with your development. Because you need to understand those things are separate. But the narcissist will make you feel like you're responsible. He'll make you feel like it's your fault. He'll make you feel like you're the crazy one. So I need you to understand this and take just a pause to be able to see and to understand that your worth, your value is not dictated by another person's opinion, by another person's perspective, and by what he does. He'll try to make you believe that. He'll try to make you feel that. He'll try to make you embody that, but it is not true. When you have this question of, why was I not good enough for him to change? Just understand that's the wrong question to ask. The question needs to be, who do I need to be so I grow for myself? Because this change piece for the narcissist isn't going to get you the end result of a connected, committed relationship because he's not in it for that. He's not in it to be honest. He's not in it to actually care about you because he doesn't care about himself. He doesn't care about his own transformation. He doesn't care about his own growth. I hope that helps. If you need help today, reach out at rawmotivations.com.